My middle name is Dalondoka, which means whoever is warned in advance is always ready for battlefield.
Beautiful.
So when you go into spaces where you know I'm going to be, let's say, not the majority here, you must have a certain mindset to say, I'm not going to shrink because of the challenges I'm going to find there. You are almost saying, I know I'm going to find the challenge there.
Yes.
So my mindset is, how am I going to work around it?
Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Spreadsheet. My name is Rodilio Lewis, and this is a podcast brought to you by ICAN to give you an idea of the people behind the accounting profession. Now, each episode features members who share their personal and their professional journeys with us, highlighting the human side of the accounting world. This season, of course, we'll be focusing specifically on the audit profession, aiming to showcase exactly what its purpose is and the depth and the opportunities that exist for young people out there. The goal is to inspire current and future professionals to see auditing not just as a technical field, but also as a meaningful and rewarding career. And of course, we are back with another episode of Beyond the Spreadsheet brought to you by ICAN. Now, we're joined today by an exciting young woman who is going to tell us a little bit about how she got into the audit profession. Now, her name made me go, you're interesting. And I'm pretty sure she did that when it came to accounting. So please help me welcome Klestina. How are you, Klestina?
I'm all right. Thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing really good. You know, it's been a good morning so far. And I'm looking forward to our conversation to just make it extra yummy.
Yeah, looking forward to you.
Now, to jump straight on into my first question, just to understand, how exactly did you get into the audit profession? What drew you to it and made you say, you know, I need to add my magic here?
Thank you very much for the question. So for me, I'm the last born of 6 siblings, and I have 2
Wow.
brothers who are both accounting teachers. My entire family did commerce. So I think because of that, I was somewhat biased towards the commerce field because it's all I've known. But I think I would also describe my journey into the audit profession as just by chance. So when I was in grade 10, I got a letter to say that I'm in top 50 for accounting, and I was in top 5 for physics. But in accounting, I was actually number 47.
Oh, wow.
But I thought, so I had to decide between physics top 5 and 47 in accounting. But
I was like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
top 5?
yeah, but I always knew I didn't like medicine. When I was about grade 6 or grade 7, I remember the one time I went to the hospital and they wheeled in a patient who appeared to have come out of the accident. I just couldn't bear the sight of blood. So it was there and then I said, whatever I do, I'm not landing up here. So the safest choice for me would then have been accounting, despite being 47. I remember at the time I got a letter from Ernst & Young to say, congratulations, you've made top 50. If you'd like to study, as a CA, let us know in grade 11. We'll give you more information on our bursary program. And that's how I really learned about this whole world of accounting.
Stunning. Wow. I like how it's like, it really is. I feel like accounting finds people. Like, it sounds like
Yes,
it like looks for you and it's like, this one. You
Yeah.
think you're number 47, you're about to be number
Number
one with
one.
us.
Yeah.
No, you've spent more than a decade as a senior auditor manager at EY, and now you're in asset management. What lessons stand out to you in your auditing journey that really have made you go, this really is the journey for me?
So I think for me, exposure. Audit profession allows you to get to see what an average person is not going to see, especially the fact that you don't work for one client. You are always constantly evolving from this client to another client. I personally did my articles at the coast, and there we did predominantly fishing and exploration.
Yes.
And when phosphate mining came around, it was a new industry. We were in there. You could ask me anything about moratorium on licenses, application, legal battle. I absorbed everything. And then the assembly plant was being started up at the coast. You could ask me anything about
So physics came
bounded
through.
warehouse, what I will tell you anything. So I think that exposure to get to learn beyond the numbers, because for you to audit, you need to understand the industry, and that really helps a lot. So exposure is really what I would take out of my journey as an auditor.
I love that. So you basically, you do envelop yourself in the other industries because you need to kind of understand. So you're still a scientist to some degree. Then.
Yes,
As much as you ran from it, that top 5 came back for you. Now, when you look at all of this, what do you find most rewarding about the audit profession? Apart from now saying that the learning experience, which is obviously one of the big highlights, one of the top 5. They're in the top 5. But what would you say is number 47 for you that really makes you go every day, this is why I'm doing this?
I think the audit profession is also a business of dealing with people. You deal with your clients, you deal with stakeholders, but more importantly, the trainees that you work with, you get to pour a lot in somebody building their career. And one of the things I've stayed long in audit, because I've stayed 10 years into the audit space, one of the same reason why I stayed in audit is to almost create a relationable experience for the trainees that were coming underneath me. Growing up in the audit space, yes, there were a lot of female into the audit space. And there were also Black people in the audit space, but the people were leaving very quickly. So trainees never really had that, I could relate, I could go to my senior manager's house, I can have senior manager as a friend. So for me, being that figure for them and seeing how they also aspire to say, oh, I can also become a senior manager, or I can also become, attend partner manager meeting, etc. So for me, building my trainees that were coming under me was really that one rewarding experience to say, by the time I work here, because even now that I've left industry, if I decide I want to call a friend where, I can call Esther, or I can call somebody in the asset management, because now my trainees are everywhere. Anyway, they didn't stay in audit, they went in the industry. So those connection and networks that I've made because I've poured in them when they were building and walking that journey really continue to be the most rewarding experience of having to spend 10 years into audit.
I think what I always find so interesting, especially when we're talking about like just the accounting world, is really how interconnected it is. You would think that perhaps just because you're in one industry, you'll meet each other at like the year-end functions or the big accounting people are coming together. But it really sounds like it's a family network of people that are like, we come up from here, and no matter how high up you go or low, we're all still connected. And obviously there are misunderstandings and like just like people not being like completely sure what is going on in the audit world. Now, for those misunderstandings, for those misconceptions, what would you say is a big misconception around the career that you would like to clear up for people?
I think it's when clients think we are out there to catch them or working against them. Clients always think as auditors, we find joy in audit misstatement, management comment letters, and findings to the audit and risk committee. So I think that misconception that the client has towards auditors make them not welcoming to the auditors. Oh, the auditors are back. Oh no. Or like that whole thing, they don't understand that we are there to add value. We are there to build trust. We are there to add credibility to the result they're releasing in the market. So if we could start realizing that we actually are there to help you. In as much as, yes, if we do find the misstatement, we will correct the misstatement because we need to release fair and, accurate financial results in the market. But we are there to make sure that when we come back the next time around, you don't have the same errors recurring. You put your house in order. You are then working towards less and less misstatement, less and less findings in the next audit report. So we are there to build and work together, not work against each other.
I love that. It's like, and I'm saying it again, that top 5 is coming up for me every time because it's like a doctor. You need to go to your doctor, find out what's wrong, let them do their checkups, let them go through and then prescribe what is necessary so that you can improve and just have a healthier financial understanding and financial records, and just make sure that your financial standing is strong and that foundation is real. So I do understand. We don't all want to hear that you spent too much money when you went out with the colleagues. No one wants to hear that, but it's quite necessary. Now, when you look at how the entire audit profession has evolved over the years and how we're taking a look at technology being involved as well, how exactly do you see the profession evolving in the next, let's say, 10 years?
So tech is here, AI is here, but what we need to understand that AI and tech will never really replace professional skepticism and judgment. So whatever happens, there will always be the human element to the audit because professional judgment, skepticism will always come from that human element. And the one thing that I really appreciate about the audit space is there's less and less, especially people going past the CA to go to the RA designation to become registered auditors. So because of the fact that there's less and less registered auditors coming in the profession, the opportunities for those that have what it takes to go the extra mile will be very wild. For me personally, how I actually went I had to go do that registered auditor process, I attended a breakfast that was held by POB, and they said the average age of an audit partner in Namibia at the time was about 50 something,
Wow.
which means there are not a lot of young people getting to become audit partners, which means those that stays and those that are actually persistent, the opportunities are endless. So yes, tech is here. Yes, AI is here. But for those people that are willing to go the extra mile, it's going to be rewarding for them. And I also need people to realize that there's a whole host of different generation that is now coming. Your baby boomers are leaving,
Yes.
generation millennials are almost becoming. We are now dealing with the Gen Zs
Yes.
and Generation Alphas. And one thing that is lacking about Generation Alpha and Gen Z is they get bored very easily. So if you can push beyond the boredom and persist, you're probably going to be the only one or one of the very few, which means that you don't even have to try so hard. By you just going that extra step, the opportunities are already endless because of just the nature of the generation that is upcoming.
Interesting. Write that down. I'm going to do some research on that one. That's very interesting. Now, you've also stepped into roles of financial advocacy and leadership. What I want to understand is, how do you bring your audit background and all of these roles together? How did you merge it? Understanding also that we've got younger generations that are trying to keep themselves excited and staying in the career. Is that maybe how you also did it, or what exactly was that?
So I do financial advocacy by teaching people financial literacy online. The one thing that I took from audit into that financial advocacy space is being able to adjust your tone and your language to the different audience. So for example, when I moved to the coast, or when I was auditing at the coast, we did a bit of public sector audits there. And I remember one of the financial manager at the client where I was auditing said, you need to mind your language when you go into this board meeting. You don't just go in and speak because you are the audit manager. You need to say, through the chair, if I may speak. So, and I learned that if I'm going into a public sector board meeting where primarily the audience is politician background, I need to speak in a certain language. But if I'm going into an environment where hierarchy is not of a concern, I can then speak in a particular language. So when I went to teach or started teaching online, I realized online there's a whole host of different audience. Some people are like on TikTok, I strictly just do Oshiwambo because I've realized my audience on TikTok are retirees and people in the north. Whereas on Instagram, I can do aesthetics, I can speak, to young professional, and LinkedIn, I can say, I'm very excited to be part of the what. So I've learned that board presentation language to carry it through my financial advocacy so I can meet my audience where they are at. And I also, for example, on TikTok, people that are on TikTok, they have a very low attention span. You can't put a 30 minutes. You need your video max 30 seconds, you are done. Because they will scroll past that. So that being able to adjust my tone, my language, my content format to different audiences is something that I took from the audit space into that financial advocacy role.
Beautiful. And it's an interesting way to make it palatable for people, because at the end of the day, like you're saying, our attention span has shrunk over the years to the point where a 30-second video sometimes might even feel like it's too
Like,
much.
I can't, 30 seconds,
If you're sitting there and you're like, what are we talking about? Financial. And I want to swipe.
Yeah.
How are you making me money? Are you making me money or not?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I love that you're using social media also as a tool to really like educate and share your knowledge with people, because the new age, like we know, like I said, technology is here, AI is here, everything is online, and it's very important to just take what we do and like keep it there as well, so that the digital community also has access to it. So it leads me into my next question, which you've also mentioned, that not seeing women in the space was of course something great for you. And as time goes by, we see less and less of certain people in certain spaces. But what advice would you give to young women that really want to step into the audit profession?
I think the world is your oyster, and you need to just be prepared to. Okay, let me say it this way. My middle name is Dalondoka, which means whoever is warned in advance is always ready for battlefield.
Beautiful.
So when you go into spaces where you know I'm going to be, let's say, not the majority here, you must have a certain mindset to say, I'm not going to shrink because of the challenges I'm going to find there. You are almost saying, I know I'm going to find the challenge there.
Yes.
So my mindset is, how am I going to work around it. So
Solution-based.
if you are going into auditing space and you know for a fact, you're gonna feel like you are a minority here, or you're gonna feel like you don't belong here, you need to know that that's what I'm going to meet. And
Yes.
how am I going to work around it to make sure that I own my space here? And for example, when I did the career transition from audit into asset management, I knew I didn't want to leave audit completely because of the fact that I've worked so hard for 10 years in the audit. I have so much knowledge. It cannot go to waste. It cannot go to waste. So when I was looking for an opportunity, I was looking for an opportunity that would allow me to blend my audit background with the investment world that I was tapping into. So I was very strategic, and I found a company that had an audit and an investment company within the same group.
Stunning.
So I spoke to my boss and I said, would you mind if I assist on the audit and also still pursue my investment? And I'm now doing both. So I'm currently an associate partner at an emerging audit firm, Umoya Financial Services, and I'm able to do both.
Beautiful.
So the fact that the skill is rare, the fact that women are needed in the industry,
Yes.
the fact that know that you are capable, you can just demand what you want. And the world will respond to you.
I love that. What would you say is your recipe? Sorry for that. What would you say is your recipe? How do you maintain the passion, the purpose for the profession? Like, what are those steps that you take on a day-to-day basis to tell yourself, I know what I'm doing, I'm in the right profession, I'm in the right lane? What does the recipe look like?
So for me, is doing what I want to do in the business.
I
Like
love
I
that.
remember my son is grade 4 now, and I wanted him to start cycling. And I would take him to cycling. That means I'm gonna stay there for an hour just waiting for him to cycle. So I said, why don't I just learn to cycle with him? And in the business of audit, I will still leave the office, drive to cycling classes, cycle for an hour,
Beautiful.
come back to the office. And I realized that sometimes what leads to burnout, especially in busy profession, is because you are waiting to be not busy to start that thing. The next thing, the year is gone, and you still haven't been able to find anything. So even now in the asset management space, we're starting to play golf, and golf is in between working hours, and you have every excuse to say, no, I can't make golf today because there's a meeting at 11:30. Squeeze the meeting around the other 8 hours of the day. Golf is just 1 hour. So we need to just learn to do it while we are busy, because that's how we find balance. Otherwise, if you are going to wait, you're going to burn out, and then you feel like you wasted time, and you're also going to somewhat develop revenge, because you feel like, no, I should have. But you must just start in the business. You will always be busy. So integrating that busyness in what you want to do is really what will get you balance.
I think it's like something that Shonda Rhimes taught me a while back when she released her book, Year of Yes. She basically said that something that we as grown-ups need to remember is that we should not stop playing. We should not say no to playing. We should start saying yes to playing, because in that moment, it's kind of like where you find that there's like a sound that you hear when you're really in the work zone, like a hum or like a song, and you can only find it if you allow yourself to play. Because that burnout, when it comes, it can take complete ownership of you.
Yeah, definitely. And it also takes so much to get back from here. You might as well avoid getting at that stage. Yeah.
Obviously, it's not a question in my list, and I like to do that. But I wanted to find out, was there ever a moment where you experienced such an intense burnout that you really said to yourself, Chomi ons kan nie meer nie. We need to let go of this. This is not going to work.
So I think I gave birth. My son is 2 years old. And I think that motherhood was a challenging phase. And I remember the one time I went to the doctor, and I had to get my, it's a milk duct. My breast got clogged because I wasn't emptying my breast enough when I returned to work. And I realized, is it really worth it? Must I just, maybe this is not for me. And I told myself, but if I just leave because of motherhood, every other woman that's going to come after me will leave because of motherhood. And we are already saying that we're not getting enough people in the profession. Women are not, joining the profession. So I decided, instead of me just calling it quits, I'm going to speak to my partners. I'm going to negotiate for pumping time. I'm going to negotiate for a pumping room, and life can continue. So at the end of the day, I made motherhood part of my working environment, because it's not just something that happens. I'm going to have another baby, for example, and if I go to another job and it's the same condition, what did I gain from here? So I think one thing that I've learned from that experience is to say, you must do it, even if it's not for yourself. Do it for those that are coming after me.
Exactly.
So already somebody that is leaving the place I was working and going to become a mother in a different company will remember, no, Klestina was able to stand up for us back then. Now I must also stand up. Now I must also create a conducive environment. So motherhood is not an inconvenience for women, but also part of this all-rounder profession that we are all trying to sort of embrace ourselves into.
Beautiful. It brings me back again to that network, that family system, that really that we're all in this together kind of thing. I love that. Also, that's very beautiful that you brought in your motherhood into your workspace. I think a lot of times people, because of external factors, they feel like, okay, now I need to give up on my dreams, my passions. Oh, I'm a mother. Society expects me as a mother to stay at home. As a woman, I need to be here. So to see how you were able to stand your ground, set your boundaries, and tell everyone, I've worked extremely hard. I am a professional, and I will continue to be a professional, but I'm a professional mother now too. I love that. And that you invited it into your space, that's beautiful. And because you've opened doors for so many young women now as well for the future, because if any of them need to step into that space, they know for a fact now that even if I want to pursue being a mother, I can do both.
Yes, you
I
can do
have
both,
it all.
really.
I love that. Now, for anyone that is perhaps only joining us now, they just caught like half bit of it. They're like, their friend was playing the video. They're like, wait, that's interesting. What are they talking about? Auditing? If you could put it all into one sentence, and a sentence that might even have sparked your interest, instead of just saying, number 47, the top 5, that's okay.
Yeah.
If that sentence could have been given to you, not from your family, not from anyone, but from you to yourself, what would that sentence be?
So I think for me, in the audit space, we have this thing of saying if it's not documented, it's not done. So what that really, for me, it means that we are not there to tell stories. We are there to corroborate what is being said. So if fact-finding, evidence, corroboration is your thing, you will really enjoy this. And because we are sticking to the fact, we tend to take out emotions out of it. It's not about, no, I think this manager did. It's this is what it should be done. This is what you are saying your financial records are. Can you support, can you corroborate that? So for me, that really sums up the trust, that we're trying to instill in the market is that evidence-based and fact-finding based profession that we are doing in audit.
I love that. Now, of course, I have that fun question that I love to throw in. If you could take the auditing profession and your journey throughout everything that you've experienced, from, I'm going to say, fighting for women's rights in the workspace, to just finding balance, to ride a bicycle with your son, like all of this. If you could just describe this entire journey in 3 emojis, what are those 3 emojis and why?
One, rolling my eyes. There's that emoji that rolls.
I thought you were just rolling your eyes for rolling your eyes. I'm like, wow.
I'm known to roll my eyes. And I remember back in my early days, one time I realized in audit, you argue based on fact. It's not what I think you are superior. You can go head to head with a partner in an argument on a technical ground, and the partner won't hold it against you. In my early days, I remember the one time I ended up in a room. It was the CFO, the accountant, the bookkeeper, and I'm telling them what they are doing is wrong. And in the midst of all of it, I think at some stage I was rolling my eyes and I'm thinking, I can't believe all these 3 people are arguing against me, and I realized I rolled my eyes so much that my clients started noticing. If I don't agree, I will roll my eyes. And people will say, please help me, but don't roll your eyes again. So rolling my eyes, because sometimes you will have into argument and you will disagree, but people won't take it personal. You learn to adjust. When Klestina rolls her eyes, it's nothing personal. It's just how
part of it.
So that emoji would definitely stay. And there's also this emoji of, like, the person is sweating. Sometimes you walk out of a board meeting and it will really feel like, shook, what were we discussing in there? And I remember when I started doing board presentation at first, every time at the coast, every time I have a board meeting, I feel like I need to go soak my feet in the ocean because the heat just needs to get off.
Cleanse.
So definitely that one. And that shocking emoji, like, wow, adventure. So for me,
beautiful.
In the early days, when the economy was doing well and clients didn't have problems with budget and bring 3 quotations or whatever, so every out of audit out of town audit we always made it out of an adventure. We go to the north for an audit, we end up in a pupa. So we will
Wow.
always make a trip out of audit, of an
Yes.
out of town audit, because it was part of the experience. So those shocking moments to say, did you really just go to a pupa when we're supposed to go to the to
Beautiful.
Shakati? So for me, that emoji will also be like, if you really just embrace the opportunities and the exposure, you can enjoy the audit in between the spreadsheet, really.
I love that. I wish I had more questions for you now. I'm like, why must I end this conversation? This is my friend. I don't want to let go now. But if there's anything that you have that you would want to say in closing, just like a small piece of motivation, anything that you have, please do share it with us.
I believe that there's a lot of CAs in Namibia, but we are getting a point where people are quitting a little bit too soon to get to the registered auditor phase, just because of those 18 months that I added. Because previously, I think before 2014, 15, when you became an auditor, you were automatically a registered. When you became a CA, you were automatically a registered auditor. Then the things change and people don't have the tenacity to see it through anymore. I feel like if you start the journey and you really want to keep your options open, maybe you leave audit because you were frustrated with audit articles, but there's a possibility that you might come back into audit. Just stay that extra 18 months. You've already stayed 7 years. What is 18 months more? So I think we should, again, and I think it comes back to the generation
Yes.
Z and Alpha, we lack that tenacity to see things through. So to my young professions that are in the audit space doing articles, yes, get over and done with your 3 years of articles, but you might as well get over and done with those extra 18 months. It won't hurt. Yeah.
Perfect. Klestina, thank you so much for just sharing all of the knowledge that you have with us and for putting it all online for us to also consume, and also just sharing financial literacy, because I do believe that as a nation, that's one thing that we really, really need a lot more of: financial literacy, to really understand how money works and understanding like what all of these things are. So thank you for creating a platform and also doing it in your own mother tongue. I think that's also a very, very powerful thing. So thank you for not just being a mother to your son, but a mother to the industry. Thank you so much for that. And I'm going to take you up for poker one day, because if you tell me that you roll your eyes, then that means I can catch your poker face.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed being here today.
Thank you so much, Klestina. And of course, Klestina, our guest for today on Beyond the Spreadsheet, a podcast brought to you by ICAN. We've got more episodes coming up, and we've got some past episodes that you can catch on our YouTube channel. So be sure to check it out there. But for now, that was Beyond the Spreadsheet with me, Rodelio Lewis. I'll catch you again next time.